Hi friends, host Derek here, host Talking with Famous People, trying a new camera angle out. I'd like to talk about the IDW, the intellectual dark web, some of the voices that are said to be part of it, the alt-right, and so forth. So I've been reading in articles on the internet things about basically the relationship of the left and the status quo media elites or whatever to the alt-right and the intellectual dark web. At the forefront of that list of people they put usually Jordan Peterson, but they include in there also Sam Harris, Ben Shapiro, what's his name? Something Yiannopoulos or something like that. Milo Yiannopoulos, and a couple of other people. Brett Weinstein is tossed into the mix there, even though I don't think that he's very alt-right or conservative necessarily. He just isn't insanely left. I mean, the thing is about these distinctions, the left and the right and so forth, is they don't account for the principalists. Principalists are neither conservative nor liberal, they're principalists. So, I'd say Sam Harris is about as meta-rational as you're going to get, which is to say he's not very much of an ideologue. The thing is, of course, I begin to think to myself, well, what exactly is my place in this continuum? Am I alt-right? I have just as much opposition to utilitarian anti-principalism, no matter where it manifests, whether it manifests amongst this group of people or that group of people. I'm going to oppose it no matter what. So I'm going to oppose so-called conservative agendas that are anti-principalist or utilitarian. I'm going to oppose so-called liberal equivalencies. I'd even oppose such things if they called themselves libertarian. It doesn't really matter what the label is that people affix to that sort of thing. What matters is the policy in and of itself. I'm a big believer in not conflating specific policies with groups of people advocating them or other irrelevancies like that. It's important not to mistake the messenger for the message, so to speak. I had this sitting nicely, but now it's not. So let me see if I can put something behind it that'll help. Maybe like this. That's better. Okay. So, obviously, I'm politically active in some sense. I am running for president, maybe not in 2020, but definitely in 2024. If I can really kick things into high gear fast, I still might make a shot at 2020. But something would have to happen, something significant would have to happen to justify taking that measure. Not only am I politically minded and politically active, but I'm ideationally active, and I tend towards somewhat controversial positions, which typically, according to this other article I was reading, correlates with having a voice that's heard pretty well. So, I think I'm kind of on the cusp here. And the reason I'm still on the cusp and haven't gotten anywhere is primarily because I haven't been engaging other people in my videos. It's like I don't typically talk about, until the last couple of weeks, I don't typically talk about these other people very often. Sam Harris, Christensen, Nate Christensen, is it? All those people. I think to the extent that I have opinions about and voice opinions about all the different voices, then I start to get in that conversation more actively, and I might be considered amongst that group of alt-right people. The thing is, though, I don't embrace that term. I don't consider myself alt-right. I consider myself all-correct. I'm a meta-rational, which is to say, I understand that no matter what my position or policy or idea is, that the representation of reality sometimes has to take a backseat to reality itself. So, for example, I'm not a strict libertarian. There are instances where I believe a libertarian frame is absolutely necessary, and there are other instances where I think it's counterproductive. For example, in environmental law, I mean, I'm a big believer in the state having a regulatory role in terms of protecting the environment. To me, it doesn't violate libertarian principles for a number of reasons, but most libertarians would say I'm contradicting myself and or failing to adhere to principlism. I would say, to the extent that that's so, this is one of those instances where we do have to allow for something that's not legitimate based on a purely transgression-based metric. So environmental law is going to punish people who are not directly transgressing against others for environmental harms incurred and or wasting water or polluting the air or something. The diffuseness of the harms makes it difficult for libertarianism to deal with environmental law. So I think that my approach to it is better. I don't believe in more gun laws because I don't think they're going to do any good. However, I accept the fact that the right to bear arms is not an absolute right, and that people don't have a right to own doomsday devices, and they don't have a right to own things that are close to doomsday devices. When the thing you want to own, if used at all, is going to kill shit tons of people, then even though it's inconsistent with libertarianism, we ought to note that reality and adjust accordingly. So this is what it means to be meta-rational, basically, is to accept that you, like everybody else, are a product of your particularist subjective calculi. That even if you're making an objective calculus, you are nevertheless illocutionarily motivated, and that ultimately is the final arbiter of the matter. That my principlism may be great and consistent and stuff, but ultimately it's because it serves my own purposes, not because of anything else. In other words, my identity is linked to this, and the reason I'm doing everything is because it has identity link payoffs, not because of reasons independent to my identity, even if the justifications are independent of my identity. So, meta-rationalism is fundamentally a kind of humility, an acceptance about the limits of human intellect to understand, solve, and be correct. That it's better to err on the side of doing no harm than it is to err on the side of assuming my predicted impacts are going to come true. So ultimately, the alt-right, quote-unquote, is comprised of a bunch of different kind of people. Ben Shapiro is the demagogue. There's no denying it. It's all group identity shit. Those damn whatever, damn wherever, Sam Harris appears to be a meta-rational like me. Jordan Peterson, meta-rational. But not as meta-rational as Sam Harrison. So, and look, the thing is, meta-rationalism isn't really a trait people have. It's a quality they display in their argumentation. Whether they're is somebody pushing a given ideological purity as a justification for something, then you know they're not meta-rational. If somebody's denying the role of their own individual interests in holding a position, advocating a position, or denying that links to their identity in ways that matter, or denying that the arguments have to be made by an individual, that we can't just argue them in space, then they're not meta-rational. And why does it matter? Well, because people who are truly honest about policy, advocacy, philosophy, whatever, are also truly humble about it. They may express their humility in an arrogant tone or something, but the humility comes from the fact that they understand the limits of human reason. They understand the limits of the justifications that people give for things, and where those justifications ought to be ignored. You know, it's where those things ought to be ignored. That we have to be humble. That we can't. That don't advocate things that force other people to do stuff without adequate humility. That's basically meta-rational. Don't assume just because somebody's well-intentioned, they're going to achieve good outcomes. Don't assume that because somebody achieves good outcomes that they're actually good outcomes. You know, be holistic, be understanding of the unintended consequences of things. Be humble, most of all. Intellectually humble, not personally humble. I mean, that would be nice too, but that's not part of meta-rationalism. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to play and choose.